Good morning, all of you. Now, today, before starting the history chapter, civics chapter, let's mark the English syllabus for your half yearly. And for English literature, write down the first chapter is Fairyland. Second, The Kite Maker. Third, A Day's Wait. And fourth, Mending Walls. Written, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
So for literature, you will have these four chapters only. Now let's come to English language. The first we have is pronouns. Then second, primary auxiliaries and modals. Auxiliaries, AUXILIARIES. AUXILIARIES, primary auxiliaries and modals. Third is non-finite verbs. Non-finite verbs. Then next, adjectives. Then adverbs. And then simple, compound and complex sentences. Simple, compound and complex sentences. Marked and written, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And in writing section, you will have notice, message and letter writing, and also paragraph writing. Okay, I think that much you know. Yes. Okay, and we have already done two notices, I think, till now. Message, letter we have already done, but we will do more for practice before your half yearlies. And then your paper would be both objective as well as subjective. So it won't be like the one that you had on Google Forms where you had only objectives. Now this time you will also have subjective, and you will also have a comprehension like you used to have in your half yearlies and finals. Alright, all of you? Writing portion, you will have notice, message, informal letter and paragraph writing. Maybe you will not get all four, but you have to be prepared for all four. Maybe you will get just two. Okay, but you should know how to write a notice, how to write a message, informal letter writing and also paragraph writing. I think this you have been doing since class 6, the notice, message, informal letter, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then comprehension, that means unseen passage also would be there. So you prepare for that also. Any other question regarding English syllabus?
Ma'am, your voice was echoing, so I was not able to write literature section.
Okay, so I'll repeat it once again if you want.
Yes, ma'am.
Now is the voice okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, first is solitude. No, sorry, this is class 7. Okay, first is your fairyland, right? First is fairyland. Then second, the kite maker. Third, a day's wait. And fourth, mending walls. Is it?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So that was your English syllabus. Now let's move on with the civics chapter. role of the parliament. Okay, now till this place we have already done that why the people should decide in a democracy and what is universal adult franchise. We also had a look at what a representative democracy is and what are the two houses of the parliament. Now we'll have a look at the functions of the parliament or what role a parliament does. Now first is to select the national government or the government at the center, the union government. Now the most important function of the parliament is to select a national or a union government, and you know every 5 years we have Lok Sabha elections, and after the elections are over, so the election commission, they prepare a list of all the newly elected MPs or the members of parliament which belong to different political parties, and we already saw that we have 543 members of Lok Sabha, and then a political party which gets more than half of the numbers, that is 272 or more MPs, they are in a position to form a government, and the leader of the majority party is asked by the president. So the president, he calls the leader of the majority party to come and form the government, and the leader of the majority party, by default he becomes the prime minister. So for the position of the prime minister, we don't have special or specific elections, but the leader of the majority party, he by default becomes the prime minister, and he is appointed as the prime minister by the president of India, and then from among his own party members, MPs, he submits, the prime minister, he submits the list of experienced and prominent MPs to be included in the council of ministers, and then on the advice of the prime minister, the president, he also appoints the council of minister to the office. Now if you see on the page here, there's a green box given here. Are you able to see that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So here if you see the parliament, it consists of the president, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, and then so that is the legislative body. Then we have the executive body, and under it we have the president, then prime minister. Under prime minister we have the cabinet ministers, under that comes the ministers of state, then the deputy ministers, and then the civil servants. So the prime minister and the cabinet ministers, ministers of state and the deputy ministers, they together make the council of ministers. Now the cabinet ministers are those who are in charge of separate departments in the government, like you know we have the railways or the defense or the home, finance, tourism, education, health. So there are so many departments in the government, and the ministers which head these various important departments in the government, they are called as the cabinet ministers. Then ministers of state are those ministers who are in charge of smaller ministries, not so important, maybe a division of a certain important ministry, they are in charge of those. And the deputy ministers, they assist the cabinet ministers as well as the ministers of state in their work, and then the day-to-day work in all the government departments is done by the civil servants, that is the IAS and the IPS and all. So they do all the day-to-day work, basically the IAS. Okay, now the council of ministers, it is headed by the prime minister, and this together forms the executive organ. How many organs of the government do we have?
3.
Okay, first is
Executive, legislature,
hmm.
and judiciary.
Okay, what does the legislature do?
Lawmaking.
All right, then what does the executive do?
They
They
execute
laws.
All right, they execute the laws or implement the laws. Then what does the judiciary do?
Interprets laws.
Okay, interpret.
Checks on.
So they interpret the law and they see that the laws are followed, and if the laws are not followed, then they punish the lawbreakers. So that is the work of the judiciary. So the prime minister along with his council, they form the executive organ of the government. And like I told you, the ministers allotted different portfolios like health, finance, and etc. And now basically these are the people heading the various departments at the national level. Now the leader of the majority party, whoever is the leader of the majority party, like right now, who is the leader of the majority party at the parliament, Lok Sabha?
PM Narendra Modi.
All right. So whoever is the leader of the majority party or in the Lok Sabha, he is also called as the leader of the Lok Sabha. And you know, there are some parties in Lok Sabha which support the ruling party, but there are some who are in opposition. So all the party which are in opposition, they are together called as the opposition, and the leader of the majority party of the opposition is called as the leader of the opposition. Now you know, sometimes what happens, one single party is not able to get full majority to make a government, and in that case two or more governments, two or more parties, they come together to form a government, and this is called as a coalition government. So when two or more parties having similar views, like-minded ideas, they come together to form a government, it is called as a coalition government. Now the Rajya Sabha, it works as a representatives of the different states. You know, like we said, it is called as a council of states, and it has members from the various state legislative assemblies. So they represent their state and they work for the welfare of the state. Now when I did the first class with you, I also talked about bill. Now bill is like a rough draft, the first thing that you write down for making any changes in the law or to pass a new law. And you know, the bill, before they become a law, they have to be presented in the parliament, and it can be presented, now the ordinary bills, they can be presented in any house of the parliament. Like I told you, only the money bills, they have to be presented in the Lok Sabha. Okay, and you know, the process is that the bill is presented in either house of the parliament, and then they read out, and the purpose of making a new law or for making changes, and then you know, they discuss on it, they make changes in it, and then finally it is put to vote. If it is passed by one house, it is sent to the other house, and then they again follow the same procedure, and if any bill is passed by both houses of the parliament, then it is sent to the president for his approval, and when the president signs the bill, it becomes a law. Okay, and like I told you that which house is more powerful, so I told you that the Lok Sabha is more powerful. Why? Because it has control over the money bills, and money bills can only be presented in the Lok Sabha, and since the Lok Sabha, it controls all the money and the finances, so it is more powerful. That is one of the reasons why it is more powerful. And so regarding money bills, the Rajya Sabha does not have much power. Now president, like I told, he is a very important part of this whole parliament, because unless he signs a bill, it cannot become a law. Now the second function of the parliament, to control, guide and inform the government. Now one of the most important functions of the parliament is to see that the executive, you know, executive is the ruling government. It is very powerful organ of the government, because they are there in power, and you know, they can make policies and everything. So you know, it is very important to keep their power in check. All right, and so the most important function of the parliament, it is to see that the executive, they do not overstep their power. All right, and that they stay responsible to the people as well as to the parliament. And the parliament is also the highest forum of debate. You know, all the important bills, the policies and everything are debated and discussed in the parliament, and the members are there free to ask anything and to discuss any matter without any fear. Now the parliament, you know, throughout the year the parliament is not in session, and so whenever they are in session, the parliament, it always begins with a question hour. Now question hour is a very important because you know, during this time the MPs or the members of parliament, they can raise questions to elicit, means to draw information or to take or bring information, take out information from the Minister, you know, normally what happens in the question are, the other MPs, those who are not of the ruling party and those who are not a part of the Council of Ministers, they ask questions to the ministers, to the people who are the Council of Ministers, as to, now those questions could be wide ranging on the policies that they have made, or like if they ask, they could even ask a question to a specific, like Minister of Railways also, for any policy that they have passed, or any law that they have passed, or any of the programs that they have taken for the people. And so ministers, because they had different departments, and so the MPs, they have the power to ask them questions on matters related to it, or the working of the national government also. Now what is the purpose? So that when they are asked questions, then they realize that they have to give answers also, and so they will not do anything which is against the wishes or the welfare of the country or the people. So the ruling government, the executive, is kept on its toes. They are, because they will be asked questions related to any of the policies they are making, and so they are also prodded to work even better for the welfare of the people. And so the government, by this question hour, they also come to know about the concerns of the people, which are asked by their representatives in the parliament. And it is very important for all MPs to ask questions. And when the opposition, they ask so many questions, now basically it is to even find out or draw attention to the shortcomings or the drawbacks in the policies and programs of the government. Now how these questions are asked, there are basically two ways. Now questions are usually written down and given to the Secretary General of the House and the minister. Now if some information is regarded, now obviously he will need some time to take out that information from his department. And so a member who wants to get any information, so what he can do, he has to mark the question with a star. Now if a question is starred, it means that the minister, the MP, he wants a oral answer to it. Alright, and so these questions which are start questions, for that oral answer is required. And otherwise the questions which are not starred, they are meant for written answers, and they are called as unstarred questions. So they can ask for starred questions or unstarred. For starred, they have to give oral explanation, and for unstarred, they have to provide written answer. Then there are some other ways also in which the parliament, they can keep control over the executive, like calling attention notice, means they want to call attention to a particular thing in the parliament, means for on a particular topic, means maybe something has happened in the country and they want to draw attention to that thing only in the parliament. So that would be called a calling attention notice. Then adjournment means they want the parliament to be adjourned and begin again on some day, maybe because of some issue, maybe they want to discuss something else in this session. And then in these cases, the members, they can request the speaker to have a decision on a particular issue. And the most important motion that is passed is called as the no confidence motion. I already told you about this, that this is also one of the reasons why the Lok Sabha is said to be the most powerful house, or the more powerful house, because like I told you, that if they feel that the ruling government is not working according to the constitution or for the welfare of the people, so they can pass a vote of no confidence in the parliament, in the Lok Sabha. And if the ruling government, they are able to prove their majority, they stay in power, otherwise the Lok Sabha is dismissed. Now in all matters regarding money, finances, the parliament's approval is very important. It is necessary, like I told you, it is presented, the money bills are presented in the Lok Sabha, and the Lok Sabha is a part of the parliament. So in all matters relating to finances, the parliament's approval is very important, it is necessary. And now the financial powers of the government, they include, they give so many grants to the state governments at time, whenever there is a natural calamity or the governments are facing some financial problems, so they can take money from the emergency fund of the government of India also, and they could also ask from some aid or grant from the central government. Then the parliament, it also makes sure that the government, they do not overspend the money or they do not misspend the money, and the money should be used in proper ways for the welfare and the upliftment and development of the people and the country. Then the parliament also controls the budget and the annual financial statements. So the budget is also passed in the parliament. It is presented before the parliament each year, and then they see that what would be the income of the government in that particular financial year, then what will be the expenditure, where to spend the money and everything. It is all there in the all this is decided in the parliament. So the parliament, it controls the budget also. Then the members of parliament, they play a very pivotal, means important, central role in controlling the parliament, in guiding and providing information to the parliament, and this is one of the main important functions of Indian democracy. And now we come to the third function, and law making or to make laws is the most primary function of the parliament. Okay, so have you all understood till here? Any confusion, students?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Is it clear?
Yes.
Have you all understood?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
So today's class we will stop here only, and we will continue with the chapter when we meet again. All right.
Okay, ma'am.